All right. All right, folks. Welcome back to episode 29 of the Ginger Ball Pod. Couple weeks off here with the holidays and everything going on, so it was tough to get a pod in. But back, how's it going, man? How's the holidays?
Back in the swing of things.
Let's go.
Great Christmas, man.
Yeah.
The spirit was in the air. I don't know about yourself, but that's the way I felt. I mean,
Yeah. Any big gifts from mommy and daddy?
this sweatshirt, this apartment, and my body.
Yeah. My life. Let's go.
They did give birth to me. No,
Yeah.
the sweatshirt actually though. This is
The
probably
greatest gift of
yeah,
them all.
probably my
Yeah.
favorite gift right here.
Let's go.
I can rock like tan on tan jumpsuits now. It's a bit fresh.
Oh, pulling
Take
up
some,
to the function like a 2K player in the
yeah,
park. Let's
taking
go.
pictures at the gas station. Six
With your
picture photo
one of
collage on
like
Instagram.
yeah,
I
one of
got
like
you.
one of these ones.
Yep, you know it. I can post up wherever now. Sunoco, Luke
Let's go.
Oil. I mean, fuck it, Turkey Hill.
Dude, I have a
Run.
funny story about that. So I was in Westchester and these group of like high school kids came out. This is the first time I've realized how washed I am. These group of like high school kids come up to me and some of my buddies and they're like, "Hey, can you take a photo for us?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, whatever." They all post up like on like the wall of a parking garage, all looking down at the ground. And then are you like, you guys gonna look? They're like, "Nah, nah, nah, nah." And I handed back to them like, "Oh, that's tough, bruh."
That's what told you you were washed up.
Yeah.
I
I was like,
think
I was like, I could never have made it in this era. My days
nah.
are
I mean,
far beyond me.
I don't think that proves anything about you. I think that proves everything about them right there.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Yeah.
to each their own.
Yeah, so we're washed. But anyways, folks, we got a great show ahead. We got some college football stuff we want to get to. Obviously there's the huge Sharon Moore story that we never got into with all the stuff we had going on. The NBA, we have a ton of great stuff coming there with some of the post NBA Cup aftermath, and then we'll get to the NFL. But let's start up top with everybody knows by now what with the Sharon Moore situation with him, stalking this woman and going to her house and threatening to kill himself and all that, and eventually getting arraigned. Now in the aftermath, obviously he's out of the picture, and Michigan hires Kyle Whittingham from Utah to be their next head coach. Whittingham was the long-term head coach at Utah from '05 to 25. Had a 177 and 88 record. Bear Bryant Award winner back in '08, back when Utah was cinema to watch back in those days. I think Brian Johnson was actually the ex-Eagles OC, was their QB that year. So he's coached
Wow.
for a while over there in Utah. But what do you think about that hire? Is not especially sexy for a program like Michigan, but maybe some stability there. Would you do that?
I mean, probably exactly the kind of guy you need. A guy who's been at a program for 20 years, somebody who will bring stability. I think that's probably the exact word that they were looking for,
Yeah.
stability and an adult in the room. So hopefully that works out for them. I mean, don't know much about the guy, not really into Utah football. They haven't been relevant in like I want to say like 3 years. Like I haven't
Cam
really seen them.
Rising?
Yeah, since he was around, then they were you know edging on top 10 talks, but can't be worse than their last hire. I think that would be safe to say, and
Yeah.
we'll see. Yeah, I mean it's all about kind of the talent that's going to be in the door now, and if you can keep talent in the door, that's going to be the big question. But I think it can't be worse. That's ultimately what I think, and stability will be there for them. Just don't know if, yeah, I mean, obviously it's not like a needle moving move, but
Right.
hopefully, 2, 3 years down the line, they can kind of become the Michigan that they were during the Harbaugh days.
Yeah, I think what you said about just having an adult in the room is probably the whole impetus for this hire. I mean, there was reports that came out after the whole Sharon Moore thing that this sort of building for a while at Michigan, that there were, inter-team, inter-program sort of meetings that there was going on. People apparently knew about the situation with Sharon and the administrative assistant for a long time, and there were sort of tea leaves already there for that. So I think bringing in Whittingham is just sort of a reset to sort of say, okay, let's bring in a guy we know can do a job and can at least keep us competent and out of the headlines for years. And I guess the one thing you'd say for a program like Michigan is you're trying to compete with Ohio State. You're trying to be at the top with programs like Bama, Georgia, everyone else that's sort of ascending now, even with like the Indianas in the Big Ten. I guess the one question would be, do you think that he will bring the type of recruiting, and especially in this new, he's sort of the old guard, one of the last like old guard college football coaches. Will he be able to bring in the type of talent that Michigan's going to need to compete at like a national level? And I guess that's the one thing that I have a question about with this hire.
Yeah, yeah, completely. I mean, that's why I'm cautious about it. I'm saying hopefully 2, 3 years down the line. I mean, they already have a lot of talent in the building. I don't know how
Yeah.
much of it's like going to be out the door due to transferring or whatever, but yeah, that's going to be the question. Michigan itself is an attraction though, so I mean, it can't be terrible, but top level recruiter, I would say no, but
I see.
to be seen. Again, I'm not in tune with Kyle Whittingham that much.
Yeah.
I don't have a great answer for that, but
I,
I would be cautious about it. I wouldn't expect this team to be top 10 next year, like at
yeah.
any point in the year. But
Yeah, I will say I think this is definitely the most resources he's ever had at his disposal. And I think he did sort of make a lot out of a little Utah. I mean, he had them ranked for years at that point. Like they had a small bit of like irrelevance there in the middle of like the 2010s period, but they were good when in the late 2000s when they had obviously the team that he had that was I believe they were
yeah,
ranked
they beat Bama in the like it was one of the Power Four Bulls back in the day. I
huge
forget
bowl. I think
which. Yeah,
they won a Rose Bowl. They might have won a Rose Bowl with him early on. But anyways, I do think that there is something to be said about him potentially having a lot more resources and obviously the boosters and everything with Michigan and the NIL money they have. He's also a QB developer. He obviously Snoop Huntley was there and Johnson was there. They had great college years, and now Snoop's been able to have a little bit of success in the NFL level. But for a team like Michigan, who will have Bryce Underwood come back after, I think a pretty inconsistent freshman year would be fair to say at the bare minimum. Some would probably say pretty disappointing for him, especially through the air. I think that's another big thing. That he'll have a reliable QB developer in the building who he can take under his wing and try to take to the next level, which they're going to need if they're going to
yeah. I
contend.
mean, and hopefully they play a different style of football. I'm kind of
Yeah.
over Michigan running the ball 50 times per game, personally. That's just me. And I feel like for a guy like Underwood or any quarterback that they have in there, it gets amplified if you play bad because I mean, don't really have that much time to get in a rhythm. You're throwing 15 to 20 passes a game. And if you're like 6 to 8 of 15 or, 8 to 10 of 20, it's not going to look good in the box score at all. So, I mean, hopefully put the ball in his hands more, let him have more opportunities to make plays. I think that would be the main thing I want to see out of this is not a Michigan team that runs the ball 70% of the time.
Yeah, the only thing I will say is Whittingham is definitely a run first coach, but what I like about what he brings to Michigan is he's a huge RPO guy. I think Underwood would benefit a lot from using his legs to open up the passing game. And I think that's what Whittingham's done throughout his time. Like
Yeah.
even Cam Rising, he wasn't like the greatest athlete, but he was effective when he ran. And they've always sort of been able to do that with their quarterback. So I think he's a fit stylistically for football. Culture wise, we'll see. I think that's the question we'll have. And also,
How old is he? Is he like
he's
above
up
60
there.
yet?
Yeah, this will be his. I'd imagine this will be his last job. Yeah, I mean, he's been coaching for. I mean, he's been a head coach for 20 plus years, and
Yeah, but are we talking like Pete Carroll and
yeah. I mean,
like Oakland? Like
he's
that old?
not that old, but I think he's in his 60s. How old's Carroll?
Not
Carroll's got to
Oakland,
be like
Vegas.
70.
Yeah, he's like 73, I want
Yeah,
to say.
Whittingham's 66. So I mean, this is his last
Yeah.
job, and I guess it's just like we're gonna give you the next 3 years to make something with this program, and then they're probably gonna go for the sexy,
Yeah.
like younger hire. But yeah, so it'll be interesting. I think obviously I think you put on the head at the beginning there with just trying to get an adult in the room and try to just get some semblance of competent stability in this program that they've desperately needed. Especially, I mean, this program in its entirety under Ward Manuel, the AD, has dealt with a lot of scandals, and I just think they need to stay out of the headlines for a little bit here. Let's transition to the college football playoff. It feels like ages since the last round of games in this, and honestly, I don't know
It's
how
so
it was for
forgettable.
you, but yeah,
Yeah.
that first
Nah,
round,
I mean, I
and
wasn't even
maybe
watching most of them.
I was gonna say maybe we should get into that before we get into our for this, but what do you think about? these group of teams playing true road games against like top five teams in the country. Like, is that worthwhile for anyone? Like, is this good?
No, I mean it's not fun. I think you have to take it on a year by year basis. I think some years you're gonna have a group of five team that will actually, be a valiant opponent. It felt obvious that it wasn't this year, and you have two of them in there, and it just makes expanding the playoff even seem like a worse idea. Yeah, these games felt like overkill.
Yeah, I mean, it's and I have some buddies obviously who went to JMU and so did you, and it was cool watching the game with those guys and like just them being like, holy shit, like JMU's in the playoff. Like they're running out on the field against Oregon and Eugene. Like hypothetically with a chance to play for a national title, which just would never be true years ago. So that part of it's cool. It's just in college football the talent gap is so immense, especially with the resources that these colleges have and how big these teams are. Like it's not college basketball where like March Madness, if somebody on Oakland has like a 3-point shooter who's just 50% from three and just can go nuts for a night in the game. Like college football, there's just too many moving parts. Like upsets like that don't really happen.
Yeah, and it feels I think we talked about this a little bit in the last pod, but I think a playing game for like one of them to get in would be
Yeah.
a good idea. But yeah, yeah, not much to say. I wasn't watching either of those games. JMU put a lot of garbage time points up,
Mhm.
but I mean, it's just not a good product at the end of the
Some
day.
some
Like,
yeah, some sketchy moments from Dante Moore in the second half too. He had two picks in that game with
I'm
it.
I'm cool on Dante Moore. A lot of people love him. I'm not.
Yeah, he's really sort of we'll see him against
I mean,
the best defenses in the
I watched
country.
a lot of him this year. I watched a lot of that Washington game. He had a decent showing there, but that Indiana game leaves a stain
Yeah.
in my mouth.
Even a lot of portions of that Penn State game. I didn't think he was great. Obviously clutch
Yeah.
late, but yeah. Yeah, it'll be interesting. I love the matchups for this quarterfinal round, though, as we'll get into. Like, I really think this is where we start to sort of figure out who a lot of these teams are. And there's a lot of cool, like, stylistic matchups. We'll get into it. But so the Cotton Bowl, Miami playing Ohio State. Miami in that greasy game against A&M.
Good one for them though.
Great win for them, especially on the road at Kyle Field. Like that's a tough place to play. It was loud as hell. Both defenses were playing really well. It didn't feel like we are gonna get points for most of that game, but now they find themselves in a matchup with Ohio State. Do you think that there's something that Miami can do to pose a threat to Ohio State? I think Ohio State kind of rolls.
I think defensively they're going to give them issues.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a low scoring game. They have talent. I don't. I still like. I don't believe in their
Saying?
offensive product.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Carson Beck.
Oh, for Miami, yeah.
Yeah. I just don't think they're going to be able to put up enough points against a competent defense to get this done, especially against a team like Ohio State. I see a 20-10 kind of game here. I think Miami's ultra talented, though. This defense has really shown something, especially since the first game, like night and day difference from their team last year, where their defense was belligerent the whole season.
Yeah.
It's just I don't trust Carson Beck in an environment like this to make enough plays to win. And they have talent on the offense too. Like Malachi Tony's a dog.
He's a dog. They need to get him the ball more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think they had to sort of find ways and creative ways to get the ball in Tony's hand in open space, and that's how they scored their touchdown. But yeah, I thought they leaned heavily on their run game, which has sort of always been Cristobal's formula. I think we think of Miami because of who they were in the early 2000s as like a flashy program, high flying, Irvin, all these great receivers through the years. But they really are like a Big Ten style team. And I think this is a really good. I think if they would have played a team who can just air raid, just play them out of the game, I think that might play into their wheelhouse a bit more. But Ohio State plays this similar style of football, and I think you're dead on when you say that this is going to be probably a very low scoring game where the run games are going to decide who wins this game. And Fletcher got going for Miami in that last round, but obviously Ohio State on the ground with Bo Jackson is pretty formidable. So it'll be one in the trenches, I think.
Yeah. You got OSU too? Or-
I do. Yeah. I like saying enough. And it's funny I say this because I don't think he's prone to mistakes, although he did throw that pick in the Michigan game. But it's weird. It's almost like that pick he threw on that first drive almost like settled him down. It was like, okay, now you got that out of the system. Like, let's come back and sort of manage this game and win this game. And he actually made winning plays. I hadn't seen him make a lot of winning plays because they'd played ahead so much this season.
Yeah, but
But I
they
was,
have winning players on the outside, like
oh
Carnell
yeah,
Tate.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean
even
that
yeah,
guy. He has an 85% contested catch rate this year. He's 12 of
he's
14.
nuts. He's
Like,
a fun draft prospect.
yeah, I mean him and Smith. It's too much on the outside for like plays like that. 3rd and 8. I think they'll make more time with plays than like Carson Beck would in that situation. That's where
Yeah.
I think this game's won. And I think both these running games are going to get like similar results. It's just when you're behind the sticks and you need to play, what formula do I trust more? I trust Ohio State's formula much more
Yeah.
because of the weapons outside. Like there's a multitude of them. I don't feel like it's focused on Malachi Tony like it is for Miami. And then the guy actually, making the reads and converting on those downs.
Yeah, and then the thing for that is, do you trust Carson Beck down 2 scores to bring them back into that game?
No.
Yeah, like that's the thing. I against A&M, you trust the Miami defense enough that they're not going to get into a position where he has to win them the game.
Yeah.
I think
I don't see this game getting to like 2 scores early, like you're kind of saying though.
yeah, I mean, it's gonna be very even, but I could see. I think there's a world where Ohio State can jump out to a lead just because I do think that they're so explosive on the outside and they do just have big play guys, even with Bo Jackson in the backfield. But it'll be interesting. I think I love this matchup. This is probably I don't know if this is my favorite because I love that Bama Indiana game too. But yeah, who are you on for this one? Are you on Miami or Ohio State?
Oh, so like
Okay.
20 to 10, 20 to 13 style
Okay.
game.
Yeah, I like
7 to
that.
10 point difference, but low scoring and it's going to be competitive throughout. But you're going to have the feeling that Miami's kind of down more than they are just because it's going to be the same rinse and repeat story on those 3rd downs. Like they can't convert.
Yeah. 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 It might I mean, they're just they can be a tough offense to watch sometimes, especially
Yeah.
if Beck's not going. That would be the one way that I could see the scenario, like I said, where Ohio State can jump out to leads. Just if Fletcher can't get going run game the same way he did against A&M, then they really don't have much. Like even Tony, he had that one explosive play for the touchdown. He was good on in special teams on the punt return, but he wasn't really a factor in that game for the most part. Like, and that's not a fault of his. It's just the way that the game went. So it'll be interesting to watch that matchup between Miami's offense and Ohio State's team. Let's move on to our second matchup, the Orange Bowl. We have Oregon against Texas Tech. Another really fun one. Oregon got a little bit of a warm up game there against JMU. I mean, that first drive, we were watching that game in the living room, and just like that first drive for Oregon was literally just like 20-yard play, 20-yard play, 20-yard play, 40-yard one hit catch touchdown, and we just sat there we're like, holy fuck, this is met against boys. But we're gonna run into a fucking legit defense here in Texas Tech, maybe if not the best defense in the country, right up there, top three, I'd say. What do you see in this game, and who do you have?
I'm not a Dante Moore guy.
Yeah.
I've said it. I think Tech is a very solid team. Dan Lanning doesn't have a signature win in like a big game. He's lost to Washington multiple times. I think this is the game that they get it done. I don't think it's going to be, sexy at all.
Hmm.
I just, I think Oregon has more talent all around that I trust in. And, especially their tight end. I'm fucking blanking on his name right now.
Kenyon Sadiq.
Yeah, Sadiq. He's a fucking dog.
He's a stud.
And I think this Oregon's defense has been overlooked this year too. They got game breakers at every level. So I'm going Oregon because I don't have an upset in any of these other games too, and that's a weird way to judge this for me. But
Hmm.
I think I'm going Oregon in another tight game. This round of games is like the real first
I
round to
love
me.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
and there's not a bad game in this round.
Mm.
And this matchup is fun. This is a similar situation with Dan Lanning's Oregon to Miami I just talked about, where I think with Oregon, we sort of have just come used to them having so many explosive playmakers and passing game like in the Mariota era and even back to Thomas. But I think I think Dan Lanning has changed the culture for them a bit, especially up in the trenches. He's really made it a point defensively to stop the run, and that's been a huge part of how they've become, a title contender again.
Yeah.
And I really like that he's instilled a bit of like a grittier formula because to me, Oregon, I know that with Mariota, they were special, and partially that's because he's one of the best college football quarterbacks we've ever seen. But they've always sort of been a little bit too glitzy and glamoury, and they've fallen short, I think, because of in some years. And I think he gives them an edge, and you can tell in his interviews and when they go in the locker room and you listen to some of his speeches, like there's a real Dan Campbell energy to the way he sort of carries himself.
Yeah, I like him as a coach a lot,
I love him,
and
man.
I 100% agree with you. Like this is a hard-nosed football team, I think, at its core. Again, not a big Dante Moore guy. He reminds me of like all these RPO kind of
Yeah.
quarterbacks.
He's like a
Exactly that. He throws a nice deep ball, but and making reads
yeah.
at the second level, like I don't think he has that in his game. Texas Tech, I don't think they have a receiver that's going to give these Oregon cornerbacks issues like a guy like Boston for Washington has this
Mhm.
year, or a guy like Surratt for Indiana, who we'll get to in a little bit when we go over that game, has given them. Like
Yeah.
Surratt dogging them. He was obviously the best player
Mhm.
when they were lining up against anybody out there during that particular game. I don't think Texas Tech has a guy like that can make Oregon's defense get exposed like that at all. And I think Oregon will benefit from that fact. Now, I just see, I do see a talent disparity here still.
Yeah, especially on when Tech has the ball.
Yeah.
I think that's a brutal matchup for them. And I don't love I've watched a bit of Tech's games and I like Morton. I think he's a solid quarterback. I do think that he may struggle in this one specifically. And I wonder if Oregon's able to constrict the Tech run game, which isn't like the most explosive run game in the country, by the way, then I
Mhm.
think this plays well for them, especially because, like you said, if this was a first round game and this was at Tech, I'd love them in this matchup. Like I think that'd be a perfect spot to pick them in. But I just do think that Oregon's defense might be the difference in this one. And I think their offense is just more explosive than
Yeah.
Tech's.
With
I
the
think they're a more
RPOs, with
yeah,
the RPOs, it's going to be interesting to come down. The backer for Tech, who's fucking special,
yeah, Rodriguez.
Rodriguez.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see where Tech deploys him
Hmm.
in terms of like, is he just going to be playing free safety out there basically? And he's going to be their last line of defense, and they, try to shut down the run completely and have him, in the back ends. I'm going to be interested to see that. That's like my matchup for the game,
Yeah. Yeah.
if you will.
And it's not like I feel like I might be overstating how good the Oregon defense is because they are liable to get some points. Like they in the USC game they weren't great, and then the Indiana game they weren't great defensively, especially in the secondary. But
It, yeah,
no,
did
go
have the
ahead.
pick six.
Yeah, for sure. Like the game changing plays for
Yeah,
sure. Maybe a more opportunistic defense
yeah.
in big games. But it's a good matchup. I think it's fun. I'm gonna roll with Oregon in this one. I think it's gonna be another really close one. It might be won or lost with Tamor. Like he has like an absolute howler. That Tech defense can get after him and make things difficult and make him make quick decisions. That could flip the game. But I like Oregon in this one.
Yeah,
All right, so
I'm
we're
with you.
both on Oregon. We're both on Ohio State. So we're loving the Big Ten so far in this. Let's that continues here. We got Bama against Indiana in the granddaddy of them all, the Rose Bowl. I love this matchup. What do you see here, and who do you have?
I think it's the battle of the top two quarterback prospects. These are my two
Yeah,
favorite prospects in this draft. I lean Simpson over Mendoza. I love the talent on Indiana, man. Especially on the outside. You got Surratt, you got Cooper, And Charlie Becker was fucking versatile in that last game too.
Mhm.
I think this, if we're talking narrative based, like this is the year of Signetti. I'm gonna roll Indiana, but
Wow, let's go.
this is a game I'm almost 50-50 on
Yeah,
100%.
this in the tech game.
I feel pretty confident in Oregon. This one's like a true coin flip to me. I just kind of I part of me wants to see Indiana win. So
Yeah,
I think that's why I'm going with them. But in terms of like quarterback prospects, I think Simpson's the real deal, man. I think he showed you that coming back from 17 down against Oklahoma last week. He's a really solid player. I think he's going to give Indiana a run for their money. Indiana's going to have to score 20 plus in this game for sure. They're not going to get by with like a 10-7 game like they did against, or a 13-10 game like they did against OSU.
yeah, yeah. I have Bama in this one. I said this when we previewed the playoff, even thinking about this matchup ahead of time. I probably too hastily, I had Bama penciled into this matchup like immediately on seeing the bracket. And then in the first half, I was pretty worried. I was way overrating them. But like you said, Simpson in that second half, also the way that that defense played in the second half when they had to turn it up a notch, it looked like in the first half, Mateer could kind of get whatever he did with his legs, and they sort of got into some of their RPO stuff. And he was looking just like
That
Baker
drop on that
reincarnated.
broken third down was
Yeah,
that killed them.
really tough. And then you could slowly see Bama get back into that game, basically entirely through the passing game. This is a run game for Bama that still has never figured it out this year. And I don't see that getting better against an Indiana run defense that's one of the best in the country. So they're going to really struggle in that department. And it's going to come down to Ty Simpson and if he can outscore Mendoza in that Indiana passing attack and run game that's a little bit more competent than the Bama. But yeah, I'm gonna roll Bama with this one. I also wonder Mendoza. He was big in that Ohio State game. More of like a moments game for him. Like he picked his spots and he was effective with his legs when he had to and made big plays with his arm with that play to Surratt. I'm interested to see him in this game, in this and what that looks like because I think this could tell a lot about not only what he is right now as a quarterback, but as we look ahead to the draft, should teams be giving up this capital and making him like stamping him as the franchise quarterback coming out of this draft, or Simpson just the guy all along and we just overlooking him. So it'll be interesting to see
Yeah.
that duel.
I've been on
But
Simpson all year. I feel like
yeah, I love him. But
uh,
he I think it was a slow start for them. I think they were just kind of off our radar, especially after that Florida State game. But yeah, man, he can is as far as just purely throwing the football, I think he's the best pure passer in this draft. I just think Mendoza gives you a little bit more with his mobility, but I wouldn't be surprised at all if Simpson's the best quarterback in this draft. And I'm excited to see this
yeah.
game.
No, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. I don't think Mendoza's clear cut at all, even if he wins this game.
Yeah. So I mean, also big for Signetti. He can do no wrong at this point. Like getting them to a Rose Bowl game and winning the
Yeah,
Big
but
Ten.
if they lose, then you're gonna have the talk start where, like, first of all, the bracket, like the one seed gets,
Yeah, they get
yeah,
Bama. They get the winner of
yeah,
Bama,
and then
Oklahoma, dog.
yeah,
Like,
Oregon got Ohio State last year. Like, you're gonna have that talk, and you're also gonna that will be most of the talk, but you're also gonna have like, are these number one seeds during the season like
yeah,
battle tested enough? Yada yada yada. But
yeah.
whatever.
No, I agree with that. And then also when you look at it, Indiana's a 6.5 point favorite. I'm pretty surprised by that. I thought it would have been down at like 2.5. But yeah, I mean, so Vegas loves Indiana. I do think there's something about if Bama literally just can't get anything in the run game, then it makes it very predictable. I think that's the best path for them. But I don't know. There's something still, even after seeing them win the Big Ten championship and have this season, there's just still something in me that's just like, I'm not sure I'm like there yet.
Is it talent wise though? I don't
No,
think like their talent is fucking
they
on
have
par with
talent.
anybody.
Like, yeah, I mean, they have the Heisman winner, they have
Yeah.
Surratt, like they have Cooper, they have studs. It's
Even
not
on the
even that.
defensive line though, like
Yeah, yeah, no, I mean that defense is great. Like I said, the run defense is special. So yeah, I mean, another one where I love this matchup. I'm on the Tide in this one. I said before we previewed it, that I saw this bracket shaking out as Bama UGA rematch in the title game, and we'll see. But let's move on to our last quarterfinal game. Another great one. Ole Miss against Georgia. You have Ole Miss without Lane Kiffin getting the job done against Tulane. I don't think anybody had very many doubts about that. But Chambliss still looking great. One of the better stories in football, with him coming from JUCO up to this level and just excelling. Who do you have in this game, and where do you think this game is won?
I have Georgia. I think it's going to be another tight game. This is probably the second hardest game for me to pick.
Hmm.
I think it's just one off of. I think Georgia's defense will give this team a rough time. I
Yeah,
do.
I agree with that.
Simply put.
Yeah,
Mm.
I mean, the first time these two played, obviously they had. I mean, that game was fucking cinema back in what was that was like was that early October, mid October? But
It had to be.
yeah, when that game that Ole Miss jumped out to a pretty decent lead in the third quarter, and then Georgia was able to come back and win that one 43-35. That was maybe my game of the year. I do think, as you said, that Georgia defense, I think, has gotten worlds better since then. And you saw the way that Ole Miss was able to.
Because that was the game directly following the game they played Bama, right?
Yes, I
They
think it
had,
was coming off the
yeah,
Bama loss, and it was like, okay, fuck, is Georgia like reeling here?
yeah, yeah. And they've looked much better since then.
Yeah,
They've been fucking cash when I've bet them.
yeah. I think the fact that they were able to come back on the arm of Gunnar Stockton in that game,
Yeah,
like
and I think he's a gamer. He reminds me of Bennett a lot.
he really does.
Mm,
I think he's fun. He's another
mm,
QB for like a big, like you'd think like the quarterback at Georgia there would be like a much bigger spotlight on him, but he's kind of slid under the Georgia as a whole to me has
mm.
slid under the radar a little bit this season as like the title favorite, which to me I don't think a lot of people do think they are. I do, but and Trinidad Chambliss was really the reason that Ole Miss was able to jump out to that lead in that game. His rushing ability really, I think, caught Georgia by surprise. Maybe there just wasn't a ton of tape on him at the time coming from a lower level. But I just don't see that formula being able to. I mean, it wasn't even able to win them that game, which it feels like was the best possible scenario for how the game script could. Like they were getting whatever they wanted with him and just in the run game with their backs, and they still weren't able to hold on against Georgia. So to me, I just think Georgia on both sides of the ball is just a little bit better than Ole Miss. And if Ole Miss wins this game, I think that would be so awesome just from a narrative point with all the Lane Kiffin shit going on.
100%. Yeah. Now I'm rooting for them, but
Oh yeah.
Gunnar Stockton, a part of me loves him.
Yeah.
Like,
Very
and
solid.
like when Bennett was in school, he pissed me off when I was a
Hmm.
fan. But it's something about Stockton's just like uber, you know, it's like delusion almost. Like when he's running outside the pocket, he doesn't give a fuck. He'll
No,
put
no,
his
no. He'll
body
put
on
his
his
head
line from the
down.
way.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I kind of love that. I think he embodies what Georgia is as a team. The best you could as a quarterback.
Yeah, also just really efficient, similar to Bennett at
Yeah.
Georgia. Like he doesn't leave much out there on the field. He's like a
Yeah.
71% completion percentage
Yeah.
kind of
Really
guy.
hope
So
they don't fall in love with the fucking screen pass though. Just a screen
yeah,
to Zachariah Branch. Like,
yeah.
yeah, I'm good on that. Like when Georgia falls in love with that, they're an annoying watch.
This
But
is also we I mean something we haven't brought up at all is like do any of these teams, and this is sort of the age old thing, is like coming off the bye, do any of these teams, so does it take them a quarter to get back into it? Like one of those
I, know,
situations.
I think the only way Georgia loses is if they shoot themselves in the foot, like they did against Bama the first game.
Yeah.
Like Cash Jones on 3rd and 4th and 1, like just personnel shit and play calling that like blows your mind, drops, just things of that nature. And I think you've seen that when they play to their potential. To me, they're the
Yeah.
best team in the country.
Yeah, I just think that Bama performance this in the SEC championship was that just stamped them to me. Like that was such a dominant four-quarter performance where it just Bama never had a hope. Like it was
Yeah,
just and in that spot where it just felt like Bama was rising throughout the year to sort of like reclaim their spot. And they had already beaten Georgia that season. Like it just
yeah.
felt like that was sort of the path of the torch in this season. And they just sort of squashed all of it and put in their best performance of the season. And that's another thing is like in these big games, who do you trust? Like an interim versus one of the best head coaches in modern college football history?
True, but
Like
there's times where Georgia will have moments where it's just like, what is it? This is not the team that we've seen before.
this is true.
I feel like they're the most prone to that out of any team in this field, to
Mm,
be quite frank. But they also have the highest ceiling to me when they're at their full
yeah.
potential.
Yeah. I haven't seen anyone play as well as they did in that SEC championship
Yeah.
game. So we're both on Georgia there.
Yep.
Okay, sweet, sweet. Folks, we have a great slate of college football games coming up on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. That's going to be excellent. I haven't been full disclosure, I haven't been watching a ton of these bowl games as we talked about. Just it just doesn't like I don't know. It's just not the love isn't there for me anymore for those games, man. Like kids opting out and like with Penn State today in this
Yeah, I saw that
Pinstripe
one.
Bowl, both backs, NFL level backs just opting out last
Yeah,
minute.
these games have no heartbeat or no
And
pulse.
I don't know if you
Yeah.
watched any of that Pinstripe Bowl, but it's
No,
bleak, man.
fuck no.
Just abysmal football. Like Clemson looks terrible, dude. So yeah, I mean, so hopefully we get a little more juice in our bowl season here with the playoff coming back. But let's move on to the NBA, where we had a pretty huge couple of weeks here since we last spoke. I think chief among the things in the NBA right now is this new rivalry between Oklahoma City and San Antonio. I just this is something that I think the NBA desperately needed. And I think it's something that when we talk about who the face of the league is currently and who it will be and how much the NBA desperately needed like people and rivalries to put people in seats and to watch games. This is exactly what the league needs. Is two of the best teams in the sport with great team, which San Antonio, by the way, we have to get into it, but their ascendance in this last 3 weeks from, a team that Wemby is carrying and maybe can carry higher than people expect to now a fully fledged contender, in my opinion. And then the reigning champs in OKC, who for 2 months of the season, it felt like nobody could beat. But it seems like in the last few matchups between these teams, San Antonio has their number. Uh,
Completely.
and I don't even Shea admitted in the post game, he was like, yeah, I mean, if the team beats you 3 times in a row, I really see how you can say we're better than them. Like,
Yeah.
which is like, I think
They
that's
don't have shit for them, and like honestly, NBA matchups within the season aren't the greatest judge of
yeah, they're not
how it's going to
indicative.
go postseason. But this, to me, completely fucking is. They don't have shit for them, and they're two young teams, so it's not like an effort thing. It's a OKC can't drive and kick on this team because Wemby's there, and it also I saw a lot of people uttering this statement, but they're uttering the statement that it seems like it's Shea and friends out there right now. It completely does. J Dub's wrist injury, that's a
Yeah,
definite
he's
question
he's
mark.
struggled.
But I mean, the fact it's just OKC's ideology as a basketball team, the drive and kick, it just doesn't work against this Spurs team at all. And the Spurs, I think me and you both were, I mean, we both did this. We probably should have slowed our roll with saying like these guards, Fox, Harper, and all
Yeah,
of them couldn't
Fox
coexist. And Castle, because we kind of saw it with Indiana last year. Like you have just
platoon.
a surplus of guards, and I mean they all look. Harper doesn't look young or like
No.
not ready for the spot. Like they all are poised and they make the right decisions. And I still would say my biggest question mark would be Fox like taking like a shot in crunch time when the ball should be in Wemby's hands. But I think they've kind of self-corrected that lately, and the way the ball has been moving has been
Yeah.
yeah, it reminds you of old Spurs basketball, the way that, I mean, the hot potato and get it to the open man. And yeah, I think they have the Thunder's number. I do. I am 100% 10 out of 10 moved by these matchups.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think the one thing that we sort of hadn't figured out yet was how Castle specifically we were worried about the fit with Castle and Fox originally because Castle wasn't really shooting the ball well from three and we didn't know how the floor spacing would look with both them on the floor with Fox is more of like a mid-range shooter. But the creation, as you sort of alluded to, that you get from all three of these guards when they're on the floor, like no matter who bring in, bring out, you have a guard on the floor who can A, provide rim pressure, which is massive, especially when Chet's not on the floor. And Ihart's been hurt at times too in this Spurs OKC matchup. And then you have Castle, who's a blur going to them and is just an explosive athlete
Yeah.
and a great connective passer. And then you have Fox, who's one of the best attacking guards in the league and a great playmaker. So you get all of these things that are also so complementary to how Wemby plays and how he wants to play. And then you get these wings with Barnes, who's having a resurgence in his 3-point shooting this year, up around 41%. And Keldon Johnson's been playing a lot better. They're both also great connective passers and good defenders. Like, this is just a team filled with guys who do things that will help Wemby play
Yeah.
winning basketball.
I mean, guys like the main story and takeaway from these matchups for me is guys like Lou Dort and Alex Caruso. They can't do shit in this matchup, and they're liabilities when they're on the floor.
Yeah.
And the Thunder are gonna have to find a way to definitely get a piece that upgrades Dort, man.
Yeah.
I think Dort is the biggest glaring weakness on this team. Like, imagine if they had a guy like Dylan Brooks.
Honestly, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, I do think so on the Dylan Brooks of it all. I do think Dort plays with an edge, and that's something that I think he's provided to this OKC team that maybe they would be looking even more without him. Doesn't it kind of feel like,
It needs to be more tangible though.
yeah, but yeah,
And like
doesn't it,
actually like we see it. I think that's what Brooks provides is a more tangible edge,
yeah,
and you can feel it. Like it's not just picking up 94 feet and being a pest on defense. It's actually like surrendering tech sometimes for
yeah,
the course of just mucking the game up and you know making that into the narrative instead of the actual game. Like
yeah.
that provides value in this league.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about so many times how Draymond in Golden State, like, in effect, Dylan Brooks is like the newer Draymond. Like, that's the role he has, but he
Yeah.
just shoots the ball way better than Draymond ever did. And he's not the connective passer that Draymond ever was either. But
Yeah,
you
in terms
do,
of like actual role, in terms of
yeah,
like
like,
we're putting on a guy like enforcer and
yeah, what they
like
provide to,
culture.
like,
Yeah, yeah.
every great team has, like, you go back to the Jordan Bulls, Rodman was that guy. Like, you need someone that will muck up a game that's not going your favor and will slow
Yeah.
down a star player and get him off, and they'll have random off nights like we saw with recently against the Lakers. Just Bron was not concerned about the game. Like, he can just make guys forget the basketball game they're playing and take dumbass shots because they want to, like, get one over on him. Like, and just play a game that they shouldn't be in a big spot. And I do think that KC seems a little too, like, I don't want to say like cuddly, but like they're a little too like friendly. I don't know. Like, they need a bit more of an edge. Like, Chet, we've seen all the emotions with me in this rivalry. Like, he fucking hates Chet. He's, getting loud after his free throws and swatting his
Man,
shit,
it feels
getting
like
loud.
acceptance from Chet.
And
And
Chet's
I
just
hate
like
it.
taking it.
Yeah,
Like
surrendering, like
like
forfeit.
give me something, man. And
Yeah.
Shay's always been kind of
And it's
like,
not even just in the game, it's like post game too. Like
yeah,
you're like more of now we don't talk.
yeah.
Now I heavily dislike him. Like we need that.
Yeah, and also, like, when we brought up the SGA comments at the top, so he's being deferential to the Spurs, saying that they're better than them. J Dub in his press conference is saying, well, when you have a 7-6 guy on the other team, it makes it really, like, he's making excuses and surrendering. And then you have Chet, who's just taking it. Like, it's just, they're just so, like, submissive to San Antonio, where it just feels like in a snap of a finger, all of a sudden it's like San Antonio just, like, feels like big bro to them already. Like, it shouldn't have
Yeah.
happened this fast. And it feels like OKC is just letting it happen.
Yep.
And
I'm with you, man.
I think this is a bigger, and maybe if you're an OKC fan, you're like, it's fucking December and we got until May to get all this sorted and to have a plan and even bring guys in January. But it's like, I don't know. I think there's some flashing lights here that this could be like San Antonio surpassing them for what could be like the
I'm
foreseeable
with you,
future.
and I'm not the type to fucking jump off the porch for regular season. Again, this is three times in like a week span, and they've all been games that have,
Pretty big implications.
yes, especially on Christmas, and they've all like moved me. You can feel the hate from the Spurs. You can't feel the hate from the Thunder.
That's
It's
my biggest thing, man. And like in other sports, I've no like so I'm a huge, obviously, Prem Arsenal fan. It's a similar thing I saw when Arsenal was going up against Man City in the Prem, where it felt like City just had this like this swagger and this confidence that like we will beat you and we will win this league. And Arsenal always just felt like they were just taking it, like they were just little bro, like happy to be second place, happy to like be in a challenge with them. And that's how this feels to me. It's really concerning. And maybe that's a Dagnall thing. Like he needs to fucking get it in these guys' heads that like this is something that where
no,
we need to.
that's DNA from the players.
It might be. And
You're not
these
getting
aren't.
that from
Yeah.
you're not getting that from any coach in the league besides like Ime.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're really not.
Yeah. So I mean, that's something to look into, and the kind of guy that they try to get by the deadline, I think would be important. Like we were talking about Giannis, which I do think Giannis matches sort of the ideology that we want them to have. I think he's a kind of a bastard when he plays and he's kind of a dick, which is funny because off the court it doesn't seem like he is at all.
Yeah.
But it's what they need. They need just a fucking asshole that's gonna like just say, you know what, fuck these guys. Like they've had our number, but we need to beat them. We need to get
Yeah.
through them. And just like, I don't know, man, just show some fucking heart. That's the
Yeah.
most
And
alarming
you
thing.
got the fucking assets. Just fucking put your dick on the table.
Yeah, 20 first round picks, and obviously
Yeah.
some of these picks aren't
Yeah.
as we originally thought, but that fucking Clippers pick
Yeah.
next year
Exactly.
is gonna be top five. So yeah, I just think they desperately need an edge. And I was really disappointed in how they dealt with that whole thing. And also just in general, you've sort of seen over the past few weeks for OKC. They lost that Timberwolves game. They lost a couple other games that were tight down the stretch, and they just couldn't really finish off. And you almost start to wonder, do
I
other
mean,
teams
all
start
four of
to
those losses
see?
are, I mean, it's Spurs and Timberwolves. It's both teams that have vitriol for this
Yeah.
OKC team.
And yeah, right. It's the similar kind of teams that are beating them,
Uh,
that teams that have an edge. I believe like Anthony Edwards is the most delusional man in the NBA. He will
Yeah.
always believe that he can beat you. I don't he doesn't give a fuck if you have Jesus Christ playing
Yeah. And
small
that's
forward.
kudos to him because this Timberwolves team can't fuck with OKC.
No, no, in a
Uh,
series they
Yeah.
wouldn't stand a chance. But he's gonna believe they can. And it almost feels to me like some of these teams that are sort of in those, you know, even down to like 4 or 5 in the West, I think they're starting to see some cracks in OKC and they're starting to like smell a little bit of blood. And it'll be interesting for the rest of the year to see how OKC does in these bigger games. And if, we haven't even talked about the Nuggets in this. Like they're out to they're in the third seed in the West and they're having almost as good a start to the season as the Spurs and the Thunder have. And
Yeah.
they're gonna miss, obviously they'll be missing Cam for a bit, but man, it just where we started this season and where we are now is just night and day for this Thunder team.
I mean, it's night and day from 15 days ago.
Yeah. Like we literally were sitting here talking about could they break, the single
Yeah. I
season
got
wins
cash out that
record.
bet.
Yeah. Like and now I mean I wouldn't touch that. Like
Yeah.
it's just it's a really, really an alarming spell for the Thunder, and they need to get that sorted. But let's go to a more positive note around the league. Con Knippel, who unfortunately I guess we have to leave with the fact he had an ankle injury and might miss some time for the Hornets. But man, dude, I think even for what we had hoped for him, and we were both higher on him than I think a lot of people were. Man, he looks like he could be a star. He was almost on like an all-star base as it is. 19 on 47, 41, 91 splits. How important is he to where this Hornets team wants to go and like the direction that they're going in?
I mean, he's vital. He's probably their best asset right now.
Yeah.
It, they should be better than they are. The fact this team's 11 and 20 is so disappointing. Yeah, you got to make moves. You got to at least be 500 with this team this year. I feel like in this East,
Yeah.
it's just I don't know. They just still feel like he feels like a bright spot, but it just feels annoying to talk about even so because this team's just in the same position they fucking always are, directionless. They still feel directionless even like who adds a guy like this who's probably the rookie of the year front runner and still feels directionless?
I
I
mean,
can't remember that happening like
they might not be the
last
only
20 years.
team with that situation either. We'll get to the Mavs, but
But at least they have like obvious pieces that it feels like they're gonna move and they'll
yeah,
go young.
yeah, yeah.
It's like the Hornets, you're young right now, and you're still in the same.
Well, that's what I wanted to.
I just can't really recount a time that this has happened when you bring in a guy like this who is like the kind of star where he impacts winning and it's obvious and
Yeah.
you can feel that and it just still has no impact on the team's win-loss record.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Because he's exactly what they needed, and it doesn't do anything. So where do you go?
I mean, I think we both know where you need to go, and I
Yeah,
don't think Charlotte would ever do it.
you just don't feel an urgency or anything from them to do anything. It's really
And this is
it,
this is what I want to get out of this discussion is so you have who is probably bona fide as like in my estimation, I think he's like already a fringe all-star guy. And as you said, he's going to impact winning. He's going to make winning plays on both ends. He's going to shoot 40% from threes. He's going to be around 50% from the field. Like he's a 40, 50, 90 guy. So now it's like, what are the other pieces of the equation that aren't working? And it's pretty evident to me, and I think to you, that LaMelo and Brandon Miller just don't seem to impact winning. And Miller's been a lot better this year. Like I think he's could be a piece. You've seen it, and we'll see it too now with this ankle injury for weeks. Like, what does it look like when LaMelo runs the show? And is this like a serious basketball team
yeah, it's just
with him
that's what I'm
leading?
saying. Like it's annoying to talk about the Hornets because they still feel like a lifeless team that has no identity. So I would move on from LaMelo
That's what I would do too.
and get more of a table setting guy. A guy who sets the table. You got two wings now that are your building blocks, and you get a guy who initiates offense in a more productive and, you know, assertive way, as opposed to LaMelo where everything feels nonchalant.
Mm. That
Because
that's my thing with him is like the demeanor part. Like
yeah,
it
and I
doesn't
still think you
feel
got to get a
urgent.
big that you still got to get a big like their defense rim
Yeah,
protection still
yeah,
feels
yeah.
like
They
I
start
like
Musa
Carlson a lot. Yeah,
Bate.
yeah. You got to get a guy down there that imposes some sort of threat because still I feel like this defense should be good too. They're long,
Yeah,
they got guys, but at the end of the day, if you don't have a guy down low who's can stop anybody from getting to the rim at will, it's going to be a long season for your defense, and you're seeing that with them.
yeah,
But yeah, I don't know exactly who they or where they would end up, but if they end up like eight, it's just like you're not going to get a difference making table. You'll get like a Nemhard type of guy after 8 to 10, which would be impactful for them, but it's not like a guy who's gonna raise their ceiling to be like a top four team.
yeah. And you know what's frustrating is LaMelo, the basketball player, is is so talented, and especially as like a facilitator, he can do the things they need. It's just so often it feels like he's unwilling to. Like he's had
He
performances. We
just
saw
he's never
last
played it.
week.
He hasn't played in a serious basketball environment in like his life.
Yeah, no, he genuinely has not.
That's probably the problem.
Probably Chino Hills was like
Yeah,
the biggest games he's ever played.
exactly. But that in itself is like a meme.
Yeah. Yeah, and even
Everything,
those
yeah,
right.
yeah, and it just leads to a nonchalantness, and it sucks to see. Like
Yeah.
there's
How do
no,
you feel about
yeah.
Miller? Because I think he's another contentious one, but I honestly, especially the way he's played defense, I think there's a little there.
I just think in the right situation, I trust him to be a difference maker more than I would trust him. Like Lamelo's gonna be your headlining
Right.
one or two
And that's
piece.
that's the other thing. And that he's a similar situation to Trey Young where he has to be the guy. Like you have to sort of adapt. This is the age-old thing with Harden too. Like you have to adapt your team to play his style of basketball.
Yeah, But that with Young, it's more like because there's actual physical limitations there in terms of size and like what he can do defensively.
Hmm.
LaMelo, it's all just the fucking moxie and way he kind of goes about playing basketball way. Like there's
Yeah,
no limitations with him. He's a 6'8" guard who moves fluidly and can make every pass. He has the court vision and he's a good shooter. Finishing's been like an issue for him in his career, but that comes down to like again, he's trying to like it'll be like scoop layups or just like
yeah.
there's it's not
Or like
assertive enough.
a
It's just
one-footed three from
yeah,
like 38 feet.
yeah, exactly. It's all let me try this out
Yeah.
with him.
And so like in a the same thing you talked about with like we haven't seen him in a big spot. Do you trust him to defend at like an NBA playoff level? Or
I
to like
just
have the like
I don't think he
wherewithal
could be
to
enough of a liability. Like he would have to care literally 0% for him to be a liability, like completely. He just has this size and wingspan where
that
he's
is
gonna
the
bother guards. Which again, it just comes. You have all the God-given ability and stature, and you're wasting it at this point.
if you put Lonzo's brain into LaMelo's body, that might be
Yeah,
like the best basketball player of all time. Like it's just
yeah,
like he is the modern point guard. Like he's
yeah.
perfect. It's just there's something that he just maybe isn't willing to unlock or isn't like hasn't been forced to unlock. And it might even that like, the fact that he was drafted to such a dire situation that hasn't like
But still, I mean, his
materially.
first 2 years there were better than what they've been now.
Yeah, they were at
When
least
they've
like a
had
play-in
when they
level
had
team.
like Gordon Hayward and Terry Rozier, which I found, yeah, which made it feel weird because it was like he came in and they were actually like on the brink of becoming something.
Yeah, they were like a 40 win team.
Yeah. So I feel like everybody felt good about him being an impact player, the winning. It's just nothing is it's been a bottom dweller for like 4 years now.
Yeah, it's frustrating, but I mean, I think Khan, as you said, is good step in the right direction for a Hornets franchise that has been directionless and spineless, I'd say, for some
Yep.
time now. I mean, especially with like the Michael Jordan ownership era, like just an absolute dumpster fire. So I think there are pieces in place, and even like Kalkbrenner is another one that's like he defends the rim and he gets boards and he's like a decent at worst he's like a very good backup center. At best he's like a modern, run and
It,
dunk center that can rim protect.
ideally, he'd be a backup center on this team. This team needs
Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
Gafford or
That would be a fun.
yeah.
That's the other thing is like you don't have to make like a headline trade. Like you can make small margin moves that can just make this team more
Yeah, and just do
competent.
them sooner rather than later because I mean the time's ticking on this.
Yeah, and what's LaMelo's what's his contract situation? He signed an extension what, 2 years ago?
Yeah, again, I don't know who the fuck would trade for him like that.
It would have to be another team that like it's to take a swing. It would have to be like somebody who's like, we can figure this out. But yeah, he's under contract till 2029. So
Yeah,
they have to trade him. And he's on like almost 40 mil a year, which won't look as bad in a few years, but yeah, man, it's a little bit bleak. Let's go to Jalen Johnson, who's another shining spot in this NBA season. I think we talked about it a decent amount before the year about how we thought this Hawks team could take a jump what we thought into contention. But in a weird roundabout way, their sort of lack of meeting expectations has paved a path for Jalen Johnson to take on this huge role for them. And now I think you're starting to see that as you respect to you, I didn't sort of see it as like an initiator and like a one in the same way that I think you did a long time ago. But you're starting to see now with all these triple doubles, and he's averaging like 23, 10, and 8 on efficient shooting, and he's huge. Like I didn't really see him taking on this level of usage and being able to scale it, but it really seems like he can.
yeah, man. They're a better team with the balls in his hands, man. He,
Yeah.
he should he should be the main guy for them, even with Trey being back. And they haven't figured it out with Trey, which is scary. And again, that is another reason why they are the obvious Giannis team.
Yeah.
You have a great pick in that New Orleans pick, and you have Trey Young. I think you can find a way to get that done.
Yeah.
personally.
Yeah. I mean, it's like glaringly obvious that they are
I mean,
just
they're a 58 win percentage team without Trey, and they're 22 with Trey.
yeah.
And there's a decent amount of games on each side of the spectrum there.
Yeah. It's also just
I I think the marriage is over, man.
yeah.
Buy into getting a guy who's going to be a superstar and help your defense out and become a defensive fucking headache for every other team, and play through Johnson and Giannis.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and you're seeing that when Trey's back, as you alluded to, like it makes Jalen Johnson a worse player too, having Trey on the floor because he's not able to do the things that he's good at with the ball in his hands. And he's forced to be like this off ball. He's not a bad shooter, but he's not a catch and shoot guy. He's a creator and he can score and he can pass and he's like Ben Simmons if Ben Simmons was like a bit more
I
polished.
mean, it's like, I mean, the way he is like limited reminds me of Bosch when he went to the Heat.
Yeah, that's true too. Like and I think also his versatility in that similar sort of way is really, really valuable. And I think when Trey's on the floor, honestly, what would be interesting is if, and this will never happen with Trey Young, but if you could get, and I guess the other thing is with Trey on the floor, your defense just suffers so much. Like they give up like 150 points to the Bulls last week. And it's just like this should be one of the best defensive teams in the NBA. Like
Yeah,
just
I mean, he hurts the
personnel
hole,
wise.
man. He hurts the hole.
It's both sides. And even like you look at the box score and it'll be like Trey had 35, 10, and 8. And you're like, oh, he was great. And you watch the games and it's like, oh, he clearly makes much worse. Like he makes their chance of winning games like so low.
Yeah, this is the obvious guy to hunt every
Yeah.
time. And with as much talent that's in the league right now, like teams are gonna, even bad teams are gonna be able to find that matchup and
Yeah.
exploit it all night. You just can't have a dark or not. I want dark holes like offense. You can't have a glaring matchup like Trey
Liability.
Young. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, in the modern NBA, you literally like we're seeing it around the league. Teams are opting of going with offensive tilted combo. Like that's been a thing for years now. And like, I mean, we might even start seeing where like teams. I mean, this is similar to the LaMelo thing, where teams might just be like, even these like offensive mavericks who are just like a million points a minute, just impact offense at an insane level, creative playmakers that can shoot. Teams might start moving away from that like lead man style of player because you just can't win games when they're only providing something on one side of the floor. That's how the Celtics
and
began to
but if
build
they
their,
are, you have to be ultra efficient at it. He's not ultra efficient either.
that's the other thing. It's like,
That's the main issue. Like, if he's not ultra efficient on offense, then where there
yeah, where's his
just a
value?
lack of, yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, yeah, I don't know. The Hawks are another like really them and the Hornets are probably the two most like frustrating teams to talk about because there are glimpses that you see, especially in the non-Trey Young and non-LaMelo Ball minutes, where it's like I can see a path forward here. Like there's enough to work with here. Like you make a couple signings here, a couple signings there, a couple good drafts. All of a sudden, this is a playing, bottom of the conference level team. For the Hawks, I guess the one thing is Giannis is a great fit. I would imagine any trade involving Giannis, he would have to greenlight. And I that's still the thing that I've been hung up on this whole time is like, why would Giannis sign himself up for what would be not a rebuild, but like
Oh no.
much more work than some of the other options.
You think it'd be much more work? I
I think it
don't
would
feel that
click.
way.
I think it would be a great fit. But in all reality, this is a team that's below 500 at the end of the year and is not a playoff team without him. So he would have to do a lot of heavy lifting here, I guess is my point. And like I don't think he's at the stage in his career where he's going to be willing to take risks like that, where he could go to like, I mean, I think of the teams that are going to be for Giannis, I think the Knicks and the Thunder are just so much more appealing to him, I would imagine.
I guess.
Whether or
I
not
guess.
that's the way he should think out of that's a different story. But I just think on the surface, you get those trade packages and you present them to Giannis and he sees Atlanta. I don't think that he's also not like watching this game, like seeing Dyson Daniels like clamp somebody. I guess they're playing them, but like
Mm,
I don't think that he would have the same respect for that move as he would to like going to OKC or going to New York.
maybe. I mean, maybe you're right. I have no idea.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean
I just personally don't feel that way.
yeah. I mean I guess I'm just to me the fact that he wants to contend and that's like the entire reason that he wants out. The Hawks are just it would be an experiment. There's no there's no pudding there. Everything's expected with the Hawks now. There's no like Kate lost cause. Need Trey, I guess Trey Young would have to be part of the package. Like it's all he would be bringing this team to a level they haven't been to. Because OKC, there's a proof. There's in New York even there's proof that there's something that he could raise to contender status. Whereas Atlanta, I just don't see him like I don't know. I would have a hard time believing that Giannis would sign off on that move.
Okay, so you're saying he can only go to contenders. He
Yeah,
would only
I
sign off on current
that's the only thing I
contenders.
think he would
Okay,
sign off on.
fair.
Whether that's true, I don't fucking
Yeah.
know. But yeah. So I mean, him in Atlanta, as we've talked about, would be a fucking perfect
The
fit.
reason, I mean, the reason it makes sense to me is you're one of those two teams. You actually mortgage something that's helping you win right now with Atlanta. You're not going to if it's Trey that pick and then you know other mini pieces that help it get it done. You know what I mean? Like,
Get that. I mean, I guess the thing is the OKC package would be more picks tilted, and you'd have.
there's gonna be a headline player in any of those deals though. Like
I'd
Chet's gonna
imagine.
be
I'd imagine like Dort's gone in that one. I'd imagine
Chet would have to be gone there. It's not getting done.
does that like.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like you're
But if
Chet.
you put Giannis in the Chet spot, that like solves most of OKC's problems.
Yeah, but my point is, at the end of the day, you're still giving up something that's currently helping you
Yeah,
win. With
I
the
don't.
Hawks, you're just not.
Yeah, I guess my thing with Chet is you're replacing it with
Y-
something better.
Yeah, no, no, I agree with that
Yeah.
completely.
But
I'm just
I
saying,
know what you're
yeah,
saying.
yeah,
Yeah, I know what you're saying because that is, I mean, we know from seeing these trade cycles, like that was always the thing with Braun is like if he was ever part of something, the team he's going to, he wouldn't want them losing anything.
yeah,
Like that was always one of the requests he'd have, and you're right. Like that could be something where Giannis is like, you know what? If they're losing one of their core players that helped them win a title, then I don't know. Then maybe it's too much. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that sort of unfolds over the next couple weeks and months. But I think the sweepstakes are going to start getting really interesting. And then just last thing in the NBA, another great young player sort of taking a leap earlier than I thought. VJ, that performance against the Knicks to me is everything that we wanted from him, sort of just in a game. Like that was the reason for the pick, and that sort of verified to me that he was the choice for the Sixers that spot. Like, yeah, you could have gone and gotten even Khan, like that would have been a good pick. You could have gotten the more experimental ace pick, which I'm so happy we didn't do. But VJ just gives this team a two-way player that can impact the game. The way he defended Brunson mostly, like the offense stuff is great, the athleticism is great. We knew that was going to be good and that would translate. The shooting also has been better than what we thought. Defense, really, I think he's shown signs that like he can be stopper, like he can be like guard your 1A guy. And that was something that I think we were still waiting on a little bit. Like in the bigger games, can he go pick up Brunson? Can he go pick up even like some of the bigger guys? I think he struggled with, but like Jaylen Brown in a Boston matchup? Can he just a few possessions here
Yeah,
and
I mean
there
the
on
good thing about this team is you're gonna get the answer on that fucking very quickly because they don't have anybody else who can.
right, right, and that's the thing is like I think Paul George obviously in his current state is just not the defender he once was, and he gives you size. Like I think he's been positive since his return defensively, and even offensively he's been a bit better. But what VJ gives you in terms of also just an effort standpoint, like what him and Maxi give this team in terms of like edge and all the same things we were talking about with what OKC was lacking and what the Hornets desperately need. They are winning players. And I think VJ is a guy that fits what this team needs to be to actually get beyond a second round matchup or a first round matchup. I still have some major concerns about what this team's top end outcomes are, as I'm sure you do too, especially the way that like Embiid's been playing and that they've been playing as a full cohesive team is not still great. But I think VJ was a home run, and I'm just for this season for the Sixers, I'm honestly just like if Maxi and VJ ball out and we're like a frisky playoff team, that's fine to me. Like I never had hopes that this team would be in contention for anything serious. So
Yeah,
I don't know how you feel about it.
kind of the same way. Just they don't have yeah, they have like a surplus of guys who can score the ball. So it's just very janky on
Yeah.
offense, and Embiid can't play defense anymore. So
Which sucks. Like
yeah,
that is like to me that's so I think there's still a lot of people who think that like over the course of the season like Embiid gets better conditioned and they
no,
play
this
more
is
games
this is
together.
this is what you got.
Yeah, I've completely lost all hope in like and to be honest like if you don't have like anchoring your defense and your rim protection, this is an unserious playoff team. Like there's no way you could
Yeah,
win a playoff series against a team that's like you could win like a play game or you could like frisky, 7 or 8 seed that kind of forces somebody into a tough series, but you're not winning any big series with like Embiid playing bad minutes and then relying on like Drummond or Bona to come in.
yeah.
Like,
Even though Drummond's a sniper now.
yeah, fuck. I mean, that's been a fun little development. But
So funny.
you also have like a ton of NPCs on the Sixers team that
Yeah.
like Don Barlow, Jabari Walker, like those shuffling in and out. I think they've given us good minutes, but in a playoff series, I don't know. What do those guys provide you? I think Barlow could be impactful, but I just think that they're so limited in the front court, and that's kind of been their issue for some time now. Like, yeah, but to me, VJ, this season has exceeded to this point what I was hoping for him, especially on the defensive side. And I'm just excited for what he's bring to the city. Let's transition to the NFL. We're getting to the playoffs here, and shit starting to get really interesting. We're basically have our playoff field set, with the exception of a few teams. I guess we still have to figure out
No,
who
I
the
mean
losers.
it's pretty much set. The
Yeah, I
only
mean it's
thing
just the
that's
NFC South.
yeah, it's Tampa and Carolina. That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah, and like there's a world where the Ravens sneak in the back door and the Steelers just capitulate,
Fuck no.
which I really hope doesn't fucking happen because I can't watch them again. But maybe let's start there with the Steelers sort of cementing their place atop the AFC North and looking like Rodgers going to lead them to the playoffs here. I know you feel a bit more pessimistic about this Pittsburgh situation. Just kind of sound off on what you think about this Steelers team and their potential chance to like win a game in the playoffs.
It's the same old Steelers to me, but that their last three games have been their best games of the season. Like, not gonna lie, like they haven't looked like a good product. It's just I don't trust what they're gonna be week to week, especially. I mean, they're gonna be if you have a team that shuts down Metcalf, it's obvious that Gainwell's become Ty Montgomery.
Yeah.
It's like those two things. That's what I wear. It just get some rush home on offense, and you'll be good. Are they gonna be the four or the?
Yes. They're gonna be the four because the it's Jags, Pats, Broncos in the top three,
Yeah.
and they won't
So
forget them.
top wild card's gonna be the Bills. Like I already saw what the Bills gave. Like we
Yeah,
saw that exact game.
Yeah.
The Bills bullied the fuck out of them for a half. Yeah, I just
Chargers
think,
too. Chargers not a great matchup for
yeah,
them.
I think we'll get a repeat of either of those. I just have to see it to believe it. Maybe I'm not saying things that have much merit. It's just, I mean,
No,
what
I
have we seen from the Steelers the last fucking 4 years in the spot? Nothing burgers, nothing burgers, and I still don't trust the guy under center enough to be enough of a difference maker. They've always had guys with either physical limitations or limitations from age. So
yeah, I also think like I think lots being made of the Lions game, but I mean like, dude, that Lions team just just laid a fucking egg against Max Brosmer and the boy. Like
that was terrible.
if
Their offense looks so bad. Their offense just had to fucking stay on script. You
yeah. Like dude,
turned the ball over 5 times.
the Vikings had
It's the
like
Vikings'
60 yards
only
of
formula to
offense.
win. Yeah, terrible, terrible. And now the Lions are last in the division. Like the
That's
Vikings have come
hilarious,
on
dude.
here.
Also the Vikings like weirdly, if a few things fell a different way, like could have snuck in the playoffs this season,
Yeah,
like like I don't know. But yeah, I mean, to me, if you look at the Steelers this last 3 week stretch, which I think everybody's talking about, they played the Ravens, the Dolphins, and the Lions, which I think now when you look back on it, it's like those are three teams that are definitely out of the playoffs. Like those
yeah,
are three non-playoff teams. And in every game, you go through their schedule, every single game against a playoff caliber team, aside from that win over the Pats in September, every single game against a playoff level team, it's been a dud. And maybe like, I don't know, I guess the Colts performance when they forced Daniel Jones to play like dog shit, but now seeing what the Colts turned into, even that one's starting to look
yeah.
worse than it did then. So, I mean, I'm still. It's funny to say this like this point in the season, but we still just haven't seen enough from the Steelers team. And I know the run game was good against the Lions. You had Warren going nuts for like 140 and a couple scores, but a lot of those were just on those breakaway touchdowns. Like from down to down, I still don't trust that run game to provide a threat to a playoff caliber defense. And yeah, I mean, Rodgers has, I think he's definitely on some shit. Like they've shot him up with something because the way he's been moving the last few weeks, like bro, he couldn't get out of the pocket 4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Like he couldn't
Yeah.
move.
Yeah.
Like that's the
He's looked better.
that's the most
No
obvious
doubt.
cortisone shot slash perky injection like I've ever seen. But so I mean, on the Steelers front, you have to be positive about the way that the offense has clicked a bit more. They found a role for Kenneth Gainwell, but yeah, I still just don't quite see them as like a formidable playoff team. Who do you think is the class of the AFC right now? Because I think the Broncos after the Packers game, I would have been so ready to be like the Broncos are
No, their defense gives me question marks more so. That's why I'm a little bit skeptical on them.
for the
But
Broncos.
yeah, their defense hasn't been the same level it was the first half.
Yeah, I mean that Jags game was pretty eye opening for me because that
The
really
Jags
felt
game,
like
I mean, they let Mariota get busy as fuck on them.
yeah.
That was the real like game where I started to fucking
Well, Josh
kind of
Johnson. Wait, wasn't it?
no, it was Mariota. It was
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. No,
Mariota getting
yeah, yeah.
busy.
Someone was against the Cowboys.
But yeah, like if their defense isn't top tier, then I get scared about the Broncos immediately because I don't trust their weapons enough. I don't trust Nix enough. I don't trust anything in their offense enough. Don't trust their run game enough.
Yeah,
Yeah, I have question marks pretty much about their whole offense.
yeah.
So I wouldn't say the Broncos are the class. Like the teams that I would put my most faith into, I guess would be it'd be four teams in a bucket right now. I'm not saying that, like I don't think the Bills are the just the class just because they have the superhero because I don't think you need the superhero quarterback to get this done this year. I don't think that's
Hmm.
the and last year as well. I think you
Yeah.
need a complete team effort, and I think I would trust the Texans, the Jags, the Patriots all more
Jags
than
are in your trust category. Let's fucking
yeah.
go.
I think I trust them all more than the Bills still because I
Do you?
my yeah my glaring thing with the Bills is they get the wrong matchup and they can't get separation on the outside. It's literally you need Josh to be a superhero.
Yeah, yeah. I'm glad you brought up the Jags because I think they're the story of the back half of the season, and especially the way that Trevor Lawrence has played not only some of the gaudy like numbers and touchdown numbers, but how much smarter he's been and how much it seems like he's figured out how to run this offense much more effectively and efficiently. Like
Yeah.
this is a well-oiled machine offensively over the last what 4 or 5 weeks.
In 6 weeks, man.
Yeah, and it's really night and day because we were sitting here at the halfway point of the season saying, yeah, they have a great record. They've won a couple big games. It just never really felt like you could trust what they had, especially offensively with ETN had a bit of a slow middle portion of the season, and Lawrence had an absolute stinker middle portion of the season. And now it's just like if those things are working and the defense is starting to play a lot more like the defense we saw in the first few weeks, obviously against some pretty shitty opponents, but they were pretty good against the Broncos. You start to see a formula for a team that can be pretty
Yeah. No,
formidable.
I'm definitely moved now
Yeah,
by them.
the Lawrence is everything to me. Like that, seeing him play at this level, which I genuinely didn't think he was like capable of 6 weeks ago, 7 weeks ago, especially on like the decision making side. Like I just never really trust him to make good decisions for a like more than a week at a time.
Yeah.
And this is now what 5 straight games, 4 straight games where he's
Yeah.
been
I mean, ever since they blew it to Davis Mills.
yeah.
And
Yeah, and I guess the Cardinals game he had 3 picks, but yeah, it's just I'm much more confident in them being able to have a floor that is pretty high,
yeah.
which you want in a playoff team. Like if everything fucking hits the fan, what do you still have, and what can you bank on, and how can you win a football game? And I think they're showing that like even in those games where Lawrence was bad, they had a good record. They were winning games in that Chiefs game. He wasn't by any means the Lawrence that he is right now,
Yeah.
the way he's been playing now. And obviously the Chiefs are stinky, stinky. But I mean, I like where this Jags team is at. I'm really starting to come around to the idea that they can in this, especially in this version of this AFC, they can they can make a run
That's what
here,
I'm
man.
saying. And like back to the Bills. Like, are the Bills your favorite?
They are. Yeah, the Bills right now are my AFC favorite.
It's just every game they've lost, it's been the same exact way.
Yeah. No, I don't.
Texans game, like
Yeah.
that Falcons game, I will never forget.
Yeah.
It,
That
it was
was
it
that
was
was
an
such
abomination of like nobody could get open guys in Josh's face, and you just compound bad plays with bad plays. The first Patriots loss,
yeah,
like these are all the same types of games, and I think the Bills will run into a team in
the
the
Texans lost too.
AFC,
Yeah.
but they're gonna have 3 games they have to win in the AFC. I think there's gonna be one that they'll run into, and this same history will repeat itself.
So if so all things equal, you have a Jags Bills first round matchup in Jacksonville. You're on the Jags in that?
I'm not saying I'm on the Jags in that one. I'm saying like if I don't think the Bills can get through 3 weeks of the
Yeah,
AFC.
three consecutive.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's the one thing I will say the AFC is I don't think there's a team that's head and shoulder above the rest. My thing with the Bills is I trust Josh Allen in spots more than I trust any of these other quarterbacks. But I think it's so tight that I think you're right. It would be really difficult for this Bills team to win 3 consecutive games against
yeah.
teams that are going to be at their caliber or above in
Like if
each
I had to
game.
pick a team coming out of the AFC, it'd be the Texans.
The Texans,
Yeah,
it,
I'm
my
heavily on that bandwagon.
yeah. Are you at all concerned about the game they just had where they struggled with the Raiders, or
No,
is
because
that just
it felt like a weird week, and
yeah?
if that continues itself for the next couple of weeks, then yeah, I'll be concerned. But
It's also just kind of two
yeah,
Superman plays by Ginty that
yeah,
kind of like made that a game. Like if you take those two plays out, it's a blowout.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I will say this. I think what unit do I trust the most in the AFC? It's the Texans defense. Maybe what unit do I trust most in the NFL besides the Rams
yeah.
offense? I think that might be the best unit in the NFL. I
It is.
saw a
I think
stat.
it's an all-time unit.
Yeah, I saw a stat that the distance between the Texans and the next best defense by EPA per play wider than the distance between the second best and like the 11th best. Like they are head and shoulders above
Yeah,
everyone else on that side of the ball. Like it's not close. And we've talked about it. and I just said it. Like the playoffs is about what you can hang your hat on. And that was the Eagles last year. The Eagles infrastructure was the best in the NFL and they won a Super Bowl because of that. Like Hurts wasn't always great. That offense had its issues for stretches that season, but that defense, that secondary, that defensive front was so dominant that you could always count on them in the biggest spots. And I think this Texans defense, they're a similar story. It's just whether that offense can sort of the run game for the Texans is really what prevents me from putting them as my favorite in the AFC right now. Especially Woody's had a little bit of injury mishaps down in the season, but
It's fair. It's fair.
they're right there for me. They would be my frisky pick if I had to, like for sure. I think they're also a really shitty matchup for the Bills if that matchup were to happen at some point. It would probably have to be the AFC chip, just seeding wise. But yeah, man, the AFC is really. I think both conferences are really open, man. Like
Yep.
I look at like, I mean,
I don't know. I saw the Rams as my head and shoulders favorite in the NFC.
yeah, Head and
Personally.
Shoulders though,
Yeah.
definitely the favorite, like betting favorite. But I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't come out of the NFC.
I think I'd be willing to say I'd be surprised if they didn't.
Yeah, I do think, but then it's the Darnold of it all really just makes it fucking brutal. Because
Yeah.
I just don't. We've seen enough. Like that's the Darnold thing is like you don't believe it until you see it. Like you just all the like we've seen enough times in the playoffs that quarterbacks that always drop in the biggest moments just it doesn't seem like the narrative changes. At least in
Yeah.
history.
Like the championship game is going to be your ceiling,
Yeah. So to
usually.
me, I can't trust Seattle. The Bears,
I I can't trust the close games, and also I'm not going to trust the. You can't have a 57% completion percentage and
for
get
Caleb.
to a Super Bowl. I just don't. They don't have enough guaranteed yards on their team through
Yeah.
the air.
Yeah. I mean, also they just were an onside kick away from losing to Malik
Yeah,
Willis and the boys.
yeah, yeah,
In all
yeah.
seriousness,
Yeah, I'm good on the Bears.
at
I'll be
home.
honest with you.
Yeah. And then I guess the FC is gonna come down to Eagles Rams. And I think we're gonna learn a ton about the Eagles tomorrow in that Bills game at Orchard Park. If I had to lean away in the game specifically, I'd obviously lean Bills just because of it being a home game. But I think
Yeah,
there's an
and
opportunity.
they also have something to play for. It feels like the Eagles have nothing to play
Yeah,
for right
they're
now.
pretty locked into that third. And they can move
Yeah,
up to two, but they're locked into two or three. So like,
yeah,
I mean, it'd be great to win the game, and especially if the Bears lose to San Fran, you could move up to a tie for two, and the Bears would have the tiebreaker with the head to head. But you'd have a great chance in the last week of the season to move up. But yeah, for the Eagles, there's just not as much on the line. The Bills are kind of still playing for the division title.
yeah,
A lot would have to go right, but yeah, I mean, I think we're gonna learn a lot about who the Eagles are in big games this season because this team throughout the season has felt a lot less dominant than last year's team. But it does feel like if you look at some of their wins this year, they still have some of the best wins in the NFL. Like they won massive games this season playing like shit.
yeah.
They can play suboptimal football and beat the Rams. They can play suboptimal football. Like they can play terribly and beat Packers. Like can they can just they maybe one of the only teams in the NFL that like if they play at like 25% of their potential, they can still win like
It's a
huge.
good point. It's a good point.
Which to me, I will just never count out the Eagles this season, especially knowing the height they can get to. But yeah, it's definitely right up the top for me. And then the Eagles, I think it's closer than maybe some people think though there. And then the other thing I wanted to get to is obviously this NFC South matchup, which is really the only thing in the NFL left to play for in this regular season of any substantial meaning, I guess. If you have to pick today, that Week 18 game in 2 weeks, it's at Raymond James Stadium. Panthers at Bucks, but the Panthers obviously maybe have their number right.
I'm taking the Panthers. The Bucks
Let's
have been
go.
flooded.
Let's fucking go, Beck. Let's go.
I'm not even sure it gets to Well, the Panthers would have to win this week, but yeah, I'm taking the Panthers either way. Like,
Yeah, I mean, there you did allude to it. Like there is a world where, I mean, I don't really see the Bucks losing to the Dolphins tomorrow, but I guess you can't rule out them losing to anyone right now.
yeah,
But
they
if they
suck.
lose that and the Panthers beat the Seahawks, which that one I really don't see, then this division could be done before week 18. But yeah, I mean, it's just I know the Panthers are wildly consistent, but it just does feel like this Bucks team lost. And it's weird that the offense looks bad because like you get Mike Evans back, you got
I
Godwin
mean,
back.
Baker's out of sorts right now, and the defense sucks. That's
Defense
what
is
it comes
really
down to.
that was the thing early on in the season when we were talking about like who the potential contender were in the NFC, and even when the Bucks were looking good and like Ibuka was looking great and the whole team was flourishing on offense, neither of us believed that this team would
Yeah,
be worth a damn playoffs because that defense is just too porous. Like they just don't have anything that can control a real in the NFC. And honestly, even in that Panthers game against the Panthers offense that I think is pretty mediocre, just in big spots, it just feels like they can't get stops.
yeah,
And so I'd pick the Panthers just from a rooting perspective in that one because I just don't want to see this Bucks team in the playoffs. I think they're unserious. And Panthers just really have like unpredictability that I'd rather see in the playoffs. Like their top end,
especially at home.
yeah, especially if they're the 4 seed. Like if they get a matchup, I mean, if they're the 4 seed, dude, like
Yeah, they'll probably get Seattle, which
they'll,
when and you come off playing them a week before. Like I like the Panthers. I do.
yeah. I
I,
mean,
I
yeah. Well, that's the other thing is we could be watching a preview of that first round
yeah.
game this week. So we'll see how they stack up with a defense like Seattle. But yeah, I mean, it's also funny that like it could be any of those NFC West, those top three NFC West teams. Like that
Yeah,
is another one that's
I
kind
think
of
they
wide
could definitely
open.
give the 49ers trouble too.
Niners could still win that division, by the way. I wouldn't be surprised if they end up winning the NFC West.
Feel like definite.
I
uh,
honestly would almost bet on it at
it,
this point.
I won it just because you got two tough games to finish the slate out, and it
Yeah,
feels. But I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked.
yeah. You could
Their defense is just kind of too
yeah.
banged up right now. That's my main thing with them.
But if it comes down to last week of the season at home against Seattle, I don't know. I think I just I'd probably pick that one.
Yeah,
But especially if the Seahawks lose this week, that opens the fucking anything.
yeah,
Like that's the most fun outcome of all of this. I want that NFC South to be wrapped up this weekend, and then we get just absolute madness in the last week in the NFC West. Like that's to me, that's be cinema.
yeah. No, so if the Niners win out, like, are they division champs regardless, or
Yes, because they swept the Seahawks.
and then tied with the Rams?
And yeah, they didn't they split with the Rams? Or,
I only remember the
or the
game that
Rams
they
split
lost.
them. Oh yeah,
I
yeah, they
only
split. They split.
I only remember the game that the Rams fucking dogged them in San Fran. I don't remember the game in
They beat them in LA in the
I
overtime
won.
game. Remember the
I'm
overtime game?
like not at all. Like that shit is like
Yeah, it was Mac
gone from
Jones.
memory. Yeah, but it had
It
to
was
be
like
fucking.
that long ago.
It had to be really early though. Like
Yeah, it was first
we
week of October.
okay.
It was
So
like
like
week 5, week 6, I
we
think.
got yeah. I don't remember that game.
Yeah. But so they split LA and they swept Seattle. So I guess it would get weird. I guess it would come down to maybe conference record between them and
Or
LA.
division record.
But I think they might have the same division record.
No, if they're 5-1 and then the Rams are 4-2.
Oh, right. I keep
Yeah,
forgetting the
yeah,
Cardinals.
yeah. No,
The
it's
Card
just good. No,
the
no,
Cardinals just the little bro of the
yeah,
division,
yeah,
just
yeah,
giving
yeah.
out free wins. Yeah. Yeah, because what the
They're four and
Rams are
two. And they
because
split against Seattle.
they split Seattle. That would be
Yeah,
the difference. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Yeah. So
yeah,
Niners have the clearest path. I mean, if it
yeah,
ends up that way.
yeah.
That would be wild, man. Like
That
I
would
feel
be.
like we quit on them as like a legit dude. They could be the one seed in the NFC.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, their offense is fucking, I trust
Oh,
this
it's
offense.
unbelievable.
Yeah. But defense, I definitely have question marks about.
Yeah,
Let's get into picks, I feel like.
yeah. Let's get into week 17. I think it's worth like 2.5 hours
Yeah.
now. Let's go to week 17. You won the week 15 picks, and I won the week 16 picks. So we split the last two. We obviously missed the Christmas game, so we'll skip those. Texans Chargers, which just kicked off here in LA. Who do you have for that one?
Nah, Texans.
Let's go. I'm on the Texans too. I do think this could be a regression game for either of these teams. Maybe we already saw that though with the Texans.
75-yard touchdown.
For who?
Trying to go see.
Holy fuck. Holy fuck. I might change my pick.
Feel like it might be the Chargers.
It was the Texans.
It was?
Yep.
Fuck yeah.
What it was, I think it was a first play CJ Stroud, or like second or third play. Jaden Higgins, 75 to the crib. We
Fuck
already
yeah.
said Texans though, so
Yeah.
it's not fucking recency bias.
Let's fucking go.
All right, so we're both on the
250
Texans.
on this.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Beck getting a little cash. I got all right. Ravens at Packers. Tyler Huntley versus Malik Willis. That's the night game today. Who do you got here at Lambeau?
No, I got the pack. I need to get the Ravens off my screen.
Let's fucking go. I'm with you there. I just have to pick them. I also think there's like a weird scenario where the Packers could still win this division with the Bears playing the Niners tomorrow night, and then the Lions in the last week of the season, who might be fucking pissed. But I wouldn't count on them winning any games. Bucks at Dolphins. This is the one that could swing that or could end that NFC South division race if the Bucks were to lose.
Ah,
It's Quinn Ewers.
yeah. Give me Bucks.
Like the
But
Bucks playing for their lives against
yeah,
Quinn Ewers.
I don't care that they're playing for their lives. I don't give a fuck. It's just Quinn Ewers isn't enough to swing me. But like, I wouldn't be fucking shocked, man.
Yeah. I mean, I would be kind of shocked if Ewers won.
I want to be. The Bucks team sucks.
Yeah, they're not good. But I do think they score enough points. I have it here as Bucks at Panthers, but it's Seahawks at Panthers. Home Panthers potentially could wrap up the division. Seahawks team that right now would be the one seed in the NFC.
Give me the Panthers. I feel like we're gonna have some fireworks.
Love it. I love it. I think this game's gonna be great. I'm gonna go Seahawks. I just think they'll be without Charles Cross to the left tackle again, so the Panthers might be able to get after Darnold and force him into some bad decisions. But I just think the Seahawks have a little more. Let's go Pats at Jets.
Pats.
We don't really
Brady
talk
Cook.
about that. Steelers at Browns. Do the Steelers wrap up the division?
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. I think also who's is Shadur healthy?
No, I
know he-
haven't heard anything else. So
Okay, so it'll be Shadur. Yeah. Garrett also we should talk about could break the single season sack against Rodgers.
Yeah.
Kind of like the odds of that. Jags at Colts. Philip Rivers with the Colts playoff lives on the fucking last thread.
no, I'll go Jags. I think it's gonna be a good game though.
I do too. I gotta. We didn't even talk about that either. Like, fucking props to Philip Rivers, man. He's been so much better than I ever thought he could be at this stage.
And good for him going after like what he wanted to do. That still, I can't believe it didn't turn out shitty. So
yeah, like he really. I mean, it's all just quick decisions and like short throws. But I mean, even there was some downfield stuff. Like he's been very impressive. But yeah, I'm gonna go Jags too. Just they might be the hottest team in the NFL right now if it's not the Texans. So Saints at Titans. Tyler Shuck looking fucking really good the last few weeks.
Give me the Saints. I'm a believer in him too now.
Yeah. I mean, Cam Ward looked fucking pretty good last week too. But I'm with you. I just think the Saints defense is like a defense that should be on a good team. Like if you paired this defense with like a competent offense, this would have been a playoff team. And I think Shucks looked a ton better recently. Let's go Seahawks. Oh wait, we already did this. Seahawks at Bears. Let's go Cards at Bengals. Joe Burrow became undepressed for 1 week last week and ball out. Who do we got here?
Don't really care either way. I feel like the Cards might just like win one for the fuck of it.
Oh man, I thought that like the last 3 weeks, and they might just be like terrible.
They are terrible. I mean, that was my best prediction of the season.
Michael Wilson winning some people some fantasy leagues though.
Yeah. Yes, sir. He's the real deal. Hopefully Marv can fucking join the party next year.
Yeah. Also, Burrow his lineman fossils for Christmas.
Fuck it.
What the fuck is he on lately, man? I'm gonna go Bengals there.
He's going down like a Rodgers, just like be different to be different path.
Yeah. Let's go Giants Raiders. This one won't sniff my tea. Who do you
I
have
mean,
here?
yeah, no, that's literally the game for the number one pick. Teams trying to out tank each other. I'll go. I just feel like the Raiders might fucking pull it out of their ass.
The winner, number one pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got the Raiders too.
Mhm.
I don't I think but the thing
I
with
want to
me
see the
is
Giants with the number one pick too, because then they'll trade.
they could trade it.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
It honestly might be more valuable for the Giants because,
yeah.
well, except the Raiders might be one of the teams trying to trade up. Yeah, I'll go Raiders. I also just think the Raiders are like a little bit better right now. Just I think the Giants are terrible and aren't really trying to win. Also, Pete Carroll might be coaching for his life right now. Like,
Like,
is he the
is
Raiders coach week one
like
next?
like deathbed or
Yeah. Well, fuck that too. You're like,
yeah.
wait, real life? Because maybe.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean he's gone. He's
Yeah.
gone no matter what happens. Not this
He might just be
experiment.
the lame duck next year, which I think is
Yeah.
like worst case scenario where they just bring him for like a couple weeks and then fire him. No, they won't fire him. It'll be like Pete Carroll and the Raiders have mutually agreed to part ways in like week three after a
Yeah, I
70
mean,
to 7 loss.
they can't get a coach, right, man?
Yeah, it's really tough. I think their ownership is just
Uh,
terrible. Eagles at Bills, Orchard Park. This should be pretty awesome. Two what
I
should be
think
contenders.
this will be the best game of the week. I think you're
Yeah,
gonna get a good showing for both teams. I'll go Bills slightly,
yeah.
but I think it's a good game.
I'm on Bills too, and I have for like when I've been looking at this game for the past few weeks, but it would not shock me at all if the Eagles play like their best game of the year. I really do think they're like a I think they're sort of built to play in big games.
Yeah, no, I think I'm gonna come away like happy with the Eagles, like at least
Either
offensive
way,
performance. Yeah,
yeah. I wouldn't be shocked if this is like a get right game for them. Bears at Niners. This is also, I mean, this is right up there for game of the week too for all the
uh,
playoff implications.
give me Niners. I'm just tired of the
Yeah,
Bears fucking winning.
yeah.
Yes, guys.
I'm on the Niners too. It's just gonna sound, but like, man, yeah, I can't get over that that fucking Packers Bears game last Saturday. Like
Yeah.
they literally just, I mean, they lost to Malik Willis. So yeah, I feel the same way about the Bears I have all year. I'm gonna go Niners at Levi. Rams at Falcons Monday Night Football.
Rams got Raheem Morris is the worst coach ever.
Honestly, dude, this last couple weeks too
Him and Jonathan Gannon.
is like the worst thing for the Falcons, where like they look frisky with and like they probably bring him back.
Yeah.
Like the bottom falling out would have been so much better for them.
I don't know. I think they should blow the whole thing up.
Yeah, they 100%
Yeah.
should. But yeah, I'm gonna go Rams on Monday night to wrap up the Week 17 slate. Some great Saturday games today. Texans Chargers going on right now, and Packers Ravens tonight. Some backup QBs going at it. But Beck, it's good to be back, man.
It is good to be back, and we'll be back next week. Final NFL season. Wow.
Let's fucking go, dude. And we'll make
Special.
some playoff picks too after that.
Yep.
So let's go. Thank you, folks, for listening, and Happy New Year.